Let's start with actually defining what is an LLC. Little graphic here on the right side, which you can take a peek at. And this graphic really walks through some of the major benefits that an LLC provides. But let's first start with clearing the air on this acronym. LLC stands for Limited Liability Company. And right there in the name is really one of the major benefits an LLC provides, which is limited liability. Now, I will call this out. That does not that you can do illegal things, and an LLC or a limited liability company automatically makes them legal or protects you. You still cannot do anything illegal. But what limited liability gives you is if someone working with your business were to file a lawsuit, or if something were to happen, you have separation between yourself and the business. You have limited liability. If you do not have a company or entity to give you this protection, your personal assets, your wealth, if you have real estate, etc., would then be potentially at risk if someone were to file a lawsuit. If not, or if you were to have an LLC, a limited liability company, this entity provides as a shield for your personal assets, and only your company's assets would be at risk there. You can take some time to go through some of these other benefits here. But at a high level, an LLC provides many things. You can see I talked about the separate entity on the bottom. I talked about asset protection or providing that structure or bubble around you. Gives you ownership of your entity. It's a very flexible entity in terms of regulation and tax structure and management. And then there's this concept of pass-through taxation, which we'll touch on as well. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I understand what an LLC is, but what about all those other LLC entity types? Or just entity types in general? Are there different types of LLCs? There are. What is an LLC versus other entity types? And to answer this, we're going to run through this handy little flowchart here. Starting at the top, and the way you can read this flowchart is, start with, do I need to be legally protected? If the answer is no, you do not need this limited liability or legal protection, then answer the question, are you going to be working alone? If the answer is yes, by default, in the US, you are what is called a sole proprietorship. This is a business run and owned by one person with no separation between personal and business. By default, if one day I just decided to wake up and start selling water bottles outside, although you do not want to solicit, you would be a sole proprietorship. Running down the flowchart, if you will be working alone and the answer is no, then you are what's called a general partnership, meaning a partnership, meaning two or more people. And you can think of that as an agreement between two or more people to work on a business together or conduct business. However, there is unlimited liability here, not limited liability, because there is no entity or structure to protect you. Running down the flowchart, if we were to run down, do I need to be legally protected? The next big decision branch in this decision tree is, will you be seeking professional investment? If the answer is yes, most times you will want to form a Delaware C-corp. Now you can see there's a couple other branches here. Do you expect a lot of profits in the short term? Do you have a social or benefit mission? If you are expecting a lot of profits in the short term, and if there's a social or benefit mission, a benefit corporation can make the most sense. But the guidance I give is, if you're looking to raise US venture capital, you need to create a Delaware C-corp. Why? Because it is required by US investors. Now, if you are not seeking professional investment, let's say you're self-funding or bootstrapping your business, meaning any revenue you generate, you're going to reinvest into the business, and you'll take some money for profit for sure, but you'll be reinvesting and growing the business. Then again, if you do not need to issue options to employees, an LLC is typically going to be the best choice. If you do need to issue options, the C-corp is where it is a better structure for that. If you are expecting a massive valuation increase in the future, that is also where a C-corp or even an s-corp might make more sense. But again, the easiest way to think about this is, if you are looking to raise US venture capital, C-corp. If not, the vast majority of the time, the LLC is a flexible and the beneficial and more easy structure to maintain long term.